Suppose one day you wake up and realize that your financial situation has less to do with your salary and more to do with how you think. Imagine discovering that the reason you keep struggling financially is not a lack of opportunity, but a pattern, a quiet psychological pattern that has been guiding your decisions for years. Now pause. Before you react defensively, ask yourself, what if money is not just a financial issue, but an identity issue? Most people don't stay broke because they lack money. They stay broke because they never confront the psychology behind how they relate to it. And today we're going to confront that psychology. If you're ready to explore uncomfortable truths about the mind, consider subscribing to Newsforge, where we sharpen awareness, not comfort. And if this resonates with you, share it with someone who values growth over excuses. Let's begin. Most people believe money problems are external. They say, I just need more income. I just need a better opportunity. I just need the right moment. But have you ever noticed something unsettling? Some people earn more and still struggle. Some people receive financial breaks and lose them. Some people increase income and increase expenses just as fast. Why? Because income does not override identity. Your financial behavior will always align with what you believe about yourself. If deep down you believe, I'm not good with money, I'm not meant to be wealthy, people like me don't succeed financially, then your decisions will quietly protect that belief. Carl Jung once suggested that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Your financial habits are not random, they are psychological. Let's confront the first pattern: scarcity. Scarcity is not about how much money you have, it's about how your mind interprets it. When you live in scarcity, psychologically, you operate from fear: fear of missing out, fear of being left behind, fear of not having enough. And fear makes you impulsive. Scarcity makes people spend emotionally, avoid long term planning, seek quick rewards, resist delayed gratification. You don't buy the expensive item because you need it. You buy it because your mind says, what if I never get this chance again? Scarcity turns money into urgency, and urgency destroys discipline. Now ask yourself, do you spend from intention or from emotional relief? The second pattern is more uncomfortable: status. Many people do not spend to improve their lives, they spend to improve how they appear. You upgrade your phone not because it serves you, but because it signals something. You stretch your budget not because you calculated it, but because you don't want to feel behind. Status is psychological currency, but status is expensive. When validation becomes more important than stability, money disappears quietly. Nietzsche once wrote that people would rather feel powerful in illusion than humble in growth. Ask yourself honestly, are your purchases building your future or protecting your ego? The third pattern is rarely discussed: familiar struggle. Being broke can become familiar, and the mind prefers familiar discomfort over unfamiliar growth. Growth requires responsibility, long term thinking, self restraint, delayed gratification. Risk, struggle, on the other hand, requires nothing new. When you attempt to change financially, something strange happens. Fear increases, not fear of failure, fear of identity change. Because growth asks, who are you becoming? And becoming someone financially disciplined requires shedding parts of yourself: the part that spends for comfort, the part that avoids responsibility, the part that says, I'll deal with it later. Most people don't stay broke because they can't earn more. They stay broke because they won't confront who they need to become. If this reflection feels uncomfortable, pause. That discomfort is awareness, and awareness is power. If this perspective challenges you, like the video, not for validation, but to train the algorithm to bring deeper conversations to more people. The fourth pattern is emotional spending. Money often becomes therapy. You reward yourself, you escape stress, you soothe frustration, you compensate for insecurity. It feels small, but repeated over years, it shapes destiny. The Stoics taught that freedom begins with mastering desire, not eliminating pleasure, mastering impulse. When money becomes a response to emotion, it stops being a tool and becomes a coping mechanism. And coping mechanisms are rarely strategic. Ask yourself, when you spend, what are you feeling? Relief, excitement, validation, escape. Your emotional state predicts your financial behavior more than your income level ever will. Now, here's the hardest truth: you don't have a money problem, you have a self discipline problem, you have a delayed gratification problem, you have an identity alignment problem. Discipline builds wealth slowly, impulse destroys it quickly. And discipline is psychological before it is financial. It requires you to say no when yes feels easier, to wait when urgency feels justified, to plan when spontaneity feels exciting. Most people want wealth without psychological transformation, but money amplifies who you already are. If you are impulsive with little, you will be impulsive with more. If you are disciplined with little, you will be disciplined with more. Wealth is not built by motivation, it is built by repeated, boring psychological consistency. So, what changes this? Awareness. Observe your money behavior without shame. Notice patterns. Notice emotional triggers. Notice identity statements you repeat about yourself. Then question them. Socrates believed that the unexamined life is not worth living. The unexamined financial life is equally dangerous. Ask yourself, what beliefs about money did I inherit? What stories about wealth do I tell myself? What habits are protecting my comfort instead of my future? And then act differently. Small changes, consistent discipline, intentional spending, long term thinking, not dramatic shifts, psychological shifts. Let's be clear: this is not about becoming obsessed with money, it's about becoming conscious. Money reveals patterns, it reveals your discipline, your patience, your identity, your emotional regulation. When you master those, money becomes a tool. When you don't, money becomes a mirror. And mirrors don't lie. So instead of asking, how can I make more money? Ask, who do I need to become to handle more money? That question changes everything, because wealth begins internally before it appears externally. You do not rise financially beyond your psychology, and once you confront that truth, you reclaim control. If this message shifted your perspective even slightly, share it. Someone you know may need this mirror. And remember, staying broke is rarely about luck, it's about patterns. And patterns can be changed the moment you become aware of them. Thanks for being here.